Hey, it is Xennial Gamer, and we are finally here with some dimensional hole content, the number one thing that's been asked for through comments. Today we're going to be doing Lumel, which is actually the newest dimensional hole, but it's the one that we're going to be starting with. I will post separate videos for each of the three. Alunia and Karzan will come later. We're going to go through all three dungeons in Lumel. So first we're going to look at the martial cats and the werewolves, and then we're going to look at how you would farm runes as well. Now, we're going to start with martial cats because this is by far and away the easiest team. I won't say it's the easiest team to build because I know some of you don't have Shayna, but it is, if you have the right monsters, it's the easiest team to farm with. And I'm going to just move this camera over here so you can see the rank. This is 36 seconds is my best time, rank 53. And what I'll tell you is I did not build a team specifically for this level. It's just that the team itself works pretty straightforward. We're going to be using Shayna, Rauk, and Hua. Now, if you want to beat my time, speed tune better because I didn't change any of the runes for these monsters. All I did was use the rune sets that were on them. So Hua is acting first on my team, and I'm going to show you the stats. Now, I cannot tell you what the minimum stats are, unfortunately. Hopefully you can match my offensive output. I'm sure my monsters are faster than they need to be. So if you can match the offensive output and just do it in a slower build, then you're probably still going to be okay. But I've never tested for the bottom build. These were just the runes that my monsters had. So I make no promises that the team will be stable for you. I just strongly recommend you use test mode first. Anyway, my Hua is 229 speed. She's acting first. If you wanted this team to be more efficient, your Hua would act last because what we're using is Shayna and Rauk to clear the waves and Hua to handle the boss. So my Shayna does act second on this team. Ideally, she would act first. She's in Violent, which is what I do recommend because it gives you some dirt protection. And then my Shayna is in speed, crit damage, attack. She'd be better in attack, crit damage, attacks. Now this team has been really stable for me. I'm sure it might have failed here and there, but I doubt it fails more than once out of 50 to 100 times. You can see my martial cat is completely unruned. Now my Rauk is going to be in Violent Blade. Obviously Violent Fight would be a little bit better, but it doesn't really matter. He is in attack, crit damage, attack. He's your primary damage dealer, but 85 crit rate will be fine for all three of these monsters because they are all because they're all fire monsters and the boss is wind. You could also put Hua in place of the Shayna for the crit lead, and then you only need 66 crit rate. You'd probably need a little bit more attack through subs, but if you had bigger attack subs and not crit rate, you could get away with 66 crit rate for this level. Now, the only time this team is ever at risk of failing is if Shayna derps during the waves. The basic idea is that our Shayna is going to do an AoE defense break, which obviously she did just derp right here, so this will give us a good chance to see what will happen when she does derp. So what we wanted was for Shayna to do her Chakram Crush and then for Rauk to clear the waves, but she actually derped twice, and it looks like we're still going to be okay. We are a little bit injured right now, and she just burned her Chakram Crush, but fortunately the Rauk team up turn cycled her. Hopefully she does a Chakram Crush here, but she does not, so this is the ultimate derp run. And this will give us our best shot. If we're going to fail, we might fail on video. And she just got stunned to boot, total derp run, and it looks like we're still okay. So this gives you an idea of how well this works. Now, on the boss level, you want to attack that left crystal first because the left crystal can defense break you. After you attack the left crystal, you go straight in for the boss. Hua is going to reduce the boss's attack bar and add continuous damage. Shayna and Rauk were both defense breaking and doing damage. You can see that run was 56 seconds and it was like the worst of all RNG. So that team is really easy. Now we're going to go to a harder one, which is the Werewolf team. I'm going to start off by showing you my rank like I did with the other one. So on this one, we're ranked 179 with a best time of 45 seconds. I only did a couple of speed runs because the speed runs are very unreliable, but we'll show you my team right here. So for the speed run, we use Shayna, Sabrina, and Rauk, and that is one of the fastest teams you can use. So the way that we got to this team is because I didn't want to have a lot of fails. I needed something that the boss was going to target on the end stage, which needed to be a wind monster. So I tried Chassoon, but the Chassoon would actually die too often, and I was having trouble getting through the waves using Chassoon. I tried some other wind monsters as well. So the way I settled on Imaceti was because he gives me an AoE defense buff, and he's super tanky. So basically my Imaceti, you can see he's built 1400 defense, 26k HP. Now, he is really fast. He actually starts to lap my monsters, which makes the run a little bit slower. There's another team that I didn't speed tune specifically for the Dimensional Hole. Basically, he's gonna give me some turn cycling because of his attack bar boost. He's got an AoE slow on the waves, and mainly he's just giving me that AoE defense buff, and he's taking all the damage himself. And that's the biggest thing, because my Shayna and my Rauk are both really squishy. I don't recall this team failing at all. If it did, it was very rare, once maybe in 50 to 100 times. And so you see how this works. Now through the waves, obviously Shayna does the Chakram Crush, and then Rauk clears the wave the same way we did with the Martial Cats. In this case, the attack bar boost from Imaceti went to our Skillup Werewolf, so it's not ideal. What you'd actually rather see, if you were building an Imaceti just for this stage, is your Imaceti should act third. So it should go Shayna first, Rauk second, Imaceti third. And what would happen there then is Shayna would Chakram Crush, Rauk would clear the waves, but if Shayna derped, Imaceti would reboost the Shayna, and then you would have a second shot for Shayna to Chakram Crush. So that would add even more stability, and it would also speed it up. Now this is just the Imaceti that I use for my my Copper Dozer team, so it's not speed tuned. Now to show you, as far as the boss battle goes, we're going to kill left crystal first, right crystal second, boss third. So again, that left crystal provokes all enemies, which is just really disruptive. And then the right crystal will heal the inflicted damage, which is also really disruptive to your runs. Your werewolf would actually heal block the boss, but the werewolf is going to be dead before you go to the boss, and that's why we kill that right crystal. So you can see the run going right here. You see what Imaceti is doing. He's basically defense buffing himself and then taking all the damage, and so that's keeping the pressure basically off of Shayna and Rauk as they're doing the damage to the boss. So there we go. The time, actually a minute 44. So that either the team's faster than I remembered, or that was a fast run. I can't promise you which, but I do expect this team usually to be a little bit slower. It might be closer to 2 minutes. It might have been a little faster than I remembered. Okay, now let's move on to our rune farming. Okay, so here's our rune farming team. Half of you just freaked out because you don't have Barbara. Not a problem. Barbara was actually a recent innovation of mine, so I'm going to tell you, I stole the idea for my team from Sample Tech's video. He has an amazing video that takes you straight through, step by step, how he came up with this team. And then I made 2 modifications to the team, but using the same premise as his team. Okay, so this is the completely, well, it's not completely free to play because it's Tinkin, but this is the team that I stole from Sample Text. But I would recommend you check out his channel, check out his Lumel video if you want to look for a variety of different options. So this is the team that he came out with. So we have Veramos, who's there to do an AoE cleanse, also giving us an HP lead. We have Fran, who's giving us attack buff and healing. We have Tinkin, who's doing our primary damage and also giving us AoE crit resist and healing. And then we have Darian, who's doing damage reduction, attack debuff, and defense break. Fran, Veramos, and Darian are obviously all free-to-play monsters. Tinkin, if you don't have him, you could look at some of the other Drunken Masters. They have similar kits, he's just slightly better. So let me show you the builds we're using here. Now, all of these monsters are at least 150k effective HP. If you're not sure how to calculate effective HP, the optimizer will do it for you, and there are some videos on my channel explaining how to use the optimizer. If you're worried about your towers, just remember that all towers do is boost your stats. So if your towers aren't maxed, it means you need slightly better runes, but it doesn't mean you have to go immediately max your towers. So here's the Veramos. I actually built Veramos just for this team, so completely leftover runes. It's not in Violent. Would it be better in Violent? Absolutely. Would it be better in a crit damage build? Absolutely, but I just took the runes I had on hand. All we wanted to do was reach 220 speed and 170k effective HP. I don't even know why it has 69 accuracy. It clearly doesn't need it. It's just, I guess, the runes that were available, plus there's a focus set there. Now, here's the Fran. My Fran is in what I consider like standard higher level Guardian runes, Violent Will, 250 attack, 250 speed, excuse me. So if you can't quite match the Fran's runes, that's understandable. Just make sure she has at least 150k effective HP. That's going to be the big key, more so than the speed. If your Fran is slower, it's okay. Just make sure she's at least this tanky. Now, here's the Darien build. I did not build Darien for this level. This was my old R5 Darien, so he's actually much tankier even than he needs to be. You don't need to make him this strong, but you do need to, of course, just make him as strong as you can. He does need accuracy because he's your defense breaker and your attack breaker. And then here's the Tianqin. And you'll see I'm in Rage Revenge. So again, for all this content, Violent would probably be a little bit better because this is a very long fight and what you're looking for is a lot of sustain. So if you were building monsters just for this purpose, then I would put them on Violent if you had the Violent runes to spare. But kind of the point here is they don't have to be on Violent. So the Tianqin, he's in Weird Runes. He's in Speed, Attack, HP. We're getting our crit damage through subs and through using the Rage set. And what we did was get him enough attack and enough crit damage that he can do enough damage to kind of run the boss down. So this team for me runs about 3.5 minutes. It's not fast, but it's stable. Now from there, and this is where I understand a lot of people can't match this team, but if you can, I want to show you how I got there because maybe you can find some alternatives as well. I changed out the Darien for Amarna. Now, Amarna added and subtracted at the same time. I lost my 20% damage reduction passive that Darien has, so your runes are going to have to be strong enough to survive the hits on the final level of the boss stage, but I gained the ability to do an AoE cleanse, an AoE heal, and a resurrect. So it was a trade-off, kind of a roughly equal trade-off there. Now, Amarna has a defense break on his skill 1 just like Darien, except my defense break is not 100% with Amarna, where it is with Darien. So when I swapped Darien for Amarna, what I found was that the team got to be about 10 or 15 seconds faster because of the brand from Amarna's skill 2. And because my Amarna is in more of a damage dealing build than Darien. That's the main reason actually, because he's in a crit damage build. Now, if he was in a violent build, the runs probably would have picked up more speed. That brought us from about 3.5 minute run to about 3 minute and 10 second run. Now, I was looking at this team and I was thinking, wow, this is taking so long. It's stable, which is the most important thing, but really is Veramos serving that much of a role for me? When we were using Darien, Veramos was very important because Darien doesn't cleanse, but Amarna does. So I thought, what could I do that would boost my damage? Well, Barbara gives me a second defense breaker. She's a huge damage dealer. She also, because of her dismount, won't die that often. Worst case scenario is the boss forces her to dismount and she does even more damage. And then if she does die, Amarna's going to resurrect her back on her, back fully mounted, and then Fran and Tianqin will heal her back up again. So she was a great fit. So you could use light, dark, water, fire. You just couldn't use the wind. But I think Masha would work almost as well here. I like Barbara because she has full attribute advantage, so she's never going to be targeted. That's the main thing. Now, the reason I'm talking you through this thought process is let's say you don't have Amarna, because he's not an everyday monster. What could you use in place of Amarna? Well, you have the Darien we talked about. Obviously, there's another option, which would be Bella. Now, if you're using Bella, you're getting another big AoE heal, you're getting AoE attack bar boosting, you've got strip and defense break, but what Bella is not giving you is attack break. And the other thing Bella is not giving you is resurrect. So it would not work to use Bella with Barbara. But because you're getting that extra heal from Bella, you don't necessarily need to bring back Veramos. You could bring back another attack-based monster that will give you attack down on the enemy and just make sure it's in 150k effective HP build. So the point I'm trying to make here is that what we're looking to do is build a balanced team that has a lot of heal, a lot of sustain, and then some attack break and some defense break and some volume of damage. And so you're going to adjust the monsters based on kind of what you have. If the point is that when you change one monster off this comp, you may have to change another monster. It's not necessarily a straight change one for one, but if you have the right monster mix, you can continually speed up or slow down the team. So we'll go ahead and watch how this team runs. Then I'm going to swap it all the way back out and show you how the free-to-play team runs, just so you can see how they both run and make your adjustments from there. But that shows you how the fastest version of the team I've come up with runs. Now, if you're looking to do a speed team, the twins are basically going to be the easiest way to go, but it's totally not stable. I did 3 or 4 runs just to put up a time, and every run failed. You do get your time if you revive, so if you're just looking for a rank, then you're going to want to do something like this, Shayna, the Water Twins, and Rauk. Probably a couple of different variations off of it, but you can see, if I move the camera a little, you can see my best time was 50 seconds, and a lot of the times above me are going to be basically that same team or something similar. So again, if you're just trying to put up a rank, you could do that, but you're going to burn through gems. You're going to have to revive every single run if you're doing something like that that's not stable. Now let's go ahead and take a look at that free-to-play version of the team. And again, I know I called this free-to-play, and I know not everybody has Tianqin, but you can use other Drunken Masters, or if you have Beta, that's obviously less free-to-play, but there are other alternatives. Basically, the role that he's serving there is your AoE crit resist and some additional heal, and then obviously he's your primary damage dealer. But you can set all of these monsters up to be damage dealers. So like my Vero could be built in a crit damage build, and that's, as a reminder, what you're looking for. You want these monsters to be at least 170k effective HP. I believe I said 150 earlier. That's just the Fran because her base stats are so low. That's the best you can do with her. In any kind of reasonable build is 150k. But so you want your friend at 150k effective HP, everyone else at least 170k effective HP, and then get them to do as much damage as you can while they're in their builds. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through the rest of this run because it's a really long, slow run, but you can watch the fast forward and see how it works. Now in that run, I was targeted straight for the boss the whole time. You can see it went 4 minutes. The reason it took so long is because Tianqin didn't land his heal block on that first stage, and that it's harder to tell in fast forward. But in the first stage, it took forever to get through. The boss kept fully healing back. One of the things one of the roles he serves is as a heal blocker, and that's where Amarna is an upgrade over Darien. This team normally ran about 3 minutes and 20, 3 minutes and 30 seconds for me. This was just kind of a bad run. The other thing that you can do is change your targeting of the monsters on the side. So I was still set up to go straight for the boss with each stage the way I was previously. So if you're struggling with any given wave, especially if you didn't quite match the rune quality that I showed here, then one of the things you can do is adjust your targeting of the monsters on the side. But as you saw, this team was targeted straight for the boss all the way through. Now I know for some people the rune quality was probably fairly high, but unfortunately I can't really test it out with much lower quality runes. These are just kind of the sets that I had. And I do believe that if you can put up the 170k effective HP, then with a comp, this particular comp, or with a comp similar to this, then you'll be able to farm the stage. It's just a question really of speed. But hopefully this gives you a variety of options. One more time, I want to give a shout out to Sample Text because it was his channel that truly inspired my current version of the team and his channel that put together the team I just showed you. So definitely got to do that shout out. And then as always, guys, I hope you found this video useful and I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time. Hey guys, if you're still with me to this point, then that means that you probably liked the video, found it entertaining, or even better, both. So please smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below because those things help the channel grow, and more importantly, they show me that the video is useful, and that's the whole reason I do this in the first place.